Days of Our Lives spoilers, shock. Holly sleeps with Aaron to destroy Tate. Salem had always thrived on secrets, but lately the town seemed to breathe them in like oxygen. They clung to brick walls and curled beneath the eaves of Horton Square, whispering through open cafe doors and echoing down hospital corridors. Everyone knew something was coming. No one knew who would be left standing when it finally hit. At the center of the storm stood Holly Jonas, no longer the impulsive girl people remembered, but a grown woman sharpened by disappointment, betrayal, and a hunger to control her own narrative. Salem had underestimated her for years. That was about to change. And if her plan succeeded, Tate Black would be the one who paid the price. Once upon a time, back when Salem's nights felt warmer and hope came easier, Holly believed in Tate. She believed in the version of him who promised forever under the glow of fairy lights at the Brady public. She believed when he swore that ambition would never eclipse loyalty. But promises in Salem were as fragile as glass. Tate had changed. Or maybe, Holly admitted to herself on sleepless nights, he had always been this way. Calculating. Strategic. Willing to bend the truth if it got him ahead. Their relationship didn't explode in one dramatic betrayal. It eroded slowly, painfully, until all that remained was resentment layered beneath forced smiles. The final blow came when Holly learned Tate had used her connections, her trust, her heart, to secure a deal that would cement his rising power in Salem's business and political circles. When confronted, Tate hadn't denied it. "I did what I had to do," he'd said coolly. "You should understand that." Holly understood perfectly. That was the moment something inside her hardened. Aaron Green had returned to Salem quietly, without fanfare. That alone should have tipped people off. In this town, silence was rarely accidental. Aaron was everything Tate wasn't, at least on the surface. Open where Tate was guarded. Warm where Tate was cold. And dangerously perceptive. He saw people clearly, sometimes more clearly than they saw themselves. Their first real conversation happened by chance at the hospital, where Holly had come to check on a family friend. Aaron had recognized her immediately. "You're Holly Jonas," he'd said, not as a question. "And you're back," she replied, already wary. He smiled. "Looks like Salem hasn't lost its edge." What Holly didn't know then was that Aaron had history with Tate, old, unresolved history that still simmered beneath the surface. A rivalry that had never truly ended. A betrayal that still ached. When Aaron learned that Holly and Tate were finished, something shifted in his gaze. Not triumph. Not pity. Opportunity. At first, Holly told herself she was just being friendly. Reclaiming her life. Proving, to herself most of all, that Tate no longer had power over her emotions. Coffee with Aaron turned into long walks. Long walks turned into late-night conversations that felt too intimate, too honest to be accidental. Aaron listened in a way Tate never had. He asked questions. He remembered answers. "You still care about him," Aaron said one night, not unkindly. Holly didn't deny it. "I care about what he did." Aaron nodded slowly. "Then you know he'll do it again." That was when the unspoken plan began to take shape. It wasn't revenge, at least not in the dramatic, reckless sense Salem knew too well. It was strategy. Precision. A way to expose Tate by using the very weapons he'd once used against Holly. Trust. Desire. Ego. Aaron never suggested it outright. He didn't have to. The idea settled between them like a spark waiting for oxygen. When Holly finally crossed the line with Aaron, it wasn't impulsive. It wasn't fueled by wine or anger or tears. It was deliberate, and that terrified her far more than regret ever could. The moment itself was private, intimate, and quietly seismic. No details leaked. No doors burst open. No witnesses watched from the shadows. But something irreversible happened that night. For Holly, it was the realization that she could choose her own path, even if that path was morally gray. For Aaron, it was confirmation that he was all in now, whether he admitted it or not. The next morning, Holly looked at her reflection and barely recognized herself. "I won't lose myself," she whispered. Not for him. Not for anyone. But Salem had a way of demanding payment, no matter how carefully one planned. Tate noticed the change almost immediately. Holly no longer reacted when his name was mentioned. She didn't flinch when he walked into a room. She didn't ask questions, or offer explanations. That unnerved him. What truly rattled Tate, though, was Aaron. Aaron's reappearance in Holly's orbit felt calculated. Intentional. And when Tate confronted him, Aaron didn't deny it. "Maybe I just like her," Aaron said calmly. Ever think of that? Tate's jaw tightened. You're playing a game. Aaron leaned closer. You taught me how. From that moment on, Tate was on edge. Deals fell apart. Allies hesitated. Whispers followed him through Salem like shadows that refused to detach. Someone was leaking information. Someone knew too much. And deep down, Tate knew exactly who had the motive and the access. Holly told herself she was in control, that she could compartmentalize, that what she shared with Aaron didn't mean she had feelings for him. But lines blurred faster than she expected. Aaron challenged her, questioned her choices, made her laugh when she wanted to stay angry. And worst of all, he started to care. Are you doing this because you want to? He asked one night. Or because you want to hurt him? Holly didn't answer. Because the truth scared her. She wanted justice. She wanted accountability. But somewhere along the way, revenge had begun to feel personal, and personal always came with consequences. Salem never let secrets stay buried. A single overheard conversation. A misplaced document. A glance held 1 second too long. Suddenly, the pieces began to fall out of place. Tate discovered evidence that pointed straight back to Holly. Financial records, altered contracts, information only she could have accessed. The betrayal cut deeper than he expected. I trusted you, he told her when they finally confronted each other. Holly met his gaze without flinching. So did I. But Tate wasn't done. If Holly thought she could outplay him, she had underestimated just how far he was willing to go. And Aaron? He realized too late that what started as strategy had become something far more dangerous. He wasn't just a pawn, or a co-conspirator. He was vulnerable. As the truth threatened to explode, Salem braced for impact. Would Holly be exposed as the mastermind behind Tate's downfall, or would Tate flip the narrative and paint her as the villain? Would Aaron sacrifice himself to protect Holly, or would he finally choose self-preservation? And perhaps the biggest question of all, had Holly destroyed Tate, or herself?